Okay, so it's 10:30. I think we'll go ahead and get started. We can do some introductions. I think you'll have to unmute yourselves to do any introductions. But I'm Derek. I'm here with Juan, our intern, and I'm from the Homeless Coalition. Hello? Someone else there?
This is
Hello?
Kim with San Benito County.
Okay.
Hi, Jasmine with Mid-Penn Housing.
Cool. I can see some other people on the line here. Let me see. Yolanda, America, Katrina, hello, welcome everybody. Jorge. Okay, so are there any additions or modifications we'd like to have to the agenda that I put on here? I highlighted in red these two that I switched places from the one that I sent in the email. But if there's anything else that anyone wants to talk about. No?
Can you add me to the email? This is Kim in San Benito County.
Yes, of course. You will be on the next one. So I'll actually put adding Kim to next meeting invite. Okay, so I thought something I could add would be I could go ahead and show the 252 and we can go through it a little bit. Could be in addition to the meeting. So I just ran this. Oh, it doesn't like that. I have to share the screen. Yeah, it looks like it doesn't like that. Well, I'll give it another minute to try to cooperate. And if not, then I'll just email the 252 corrections to whoever the corrections need to be made for, because it doesn't look like it's gonna let me share this screen. It doesn't like this. So we'll go back. Okay. Well, so the first thing is there's this new HMIS security training video that our intern made. The video is complete. I am just making a quiz for it in Google Forms. So right now I just need to finish making this quiz. A lot of it is information that y'all would already know if you've been working in HMIS for a while, but for the newer ones of you, it's some useful information to have. So when I embedded this video into the Google form, it's really small. So my suggestion is to click on this link up here and it will open to YouTube and you can just watch it like a normal YouTube video and go through the quiz. Hoping to have this done by the end of the week and send it out to everyone and just complete it. And it'll just be another thing that you all will have completed for your training. So that's cool. Oh, I need to remember to keep sharing the screen. And something kind of goes hand in hand with the training video is the security on-site visits. So I've already gone to a couple organizations, 2 or 3 of them, and done the security check of the workstations. But keep that on your radar. I'm going to be planning more of these in the future, or have a couple of these planned. And it's just the normal thing that usually happens. I look at a computer and have a checklist, and it's just making sure that passwords aren't written down anywhere, or that nobody else can see your screen and that it locks and everything. So it's just kind of standard operating procedure for security. A lot of it's just common sense stuff. I'm going to start talking a lot about data stuff. So if you're interested in that, definitely stay on the line. I think it's interesting kind of stuff that we do in the background here. HUD reports are coming due next year in 2020. It's right around the corner. So I wanted to show you some of the cool data things that are going to be going on at the coalition. So the first thing is the LSA. This is a new HUD data reporting report. It's called the Longitudinal Systems Analysis. It's, from what I've heard, is a very extensive, report that HUD wants. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and it has a lot of really cool implications. Can you all see this? Yeah. So it's in HDX 2.0. Oh, it doesn't want to log me in. Doesn't like that. But what it does basically is it takes all of HMS data with CSVs, and we send it to HUD, and then we can see a lot of really useful information about our whole COC's data. So if we look into my data sets, and then this could be further uploaded into something called Stella, which is up here to the right. I haven't figured out how to use it yet. I just got in here yesterday. To see a cool visualization of where clients go, where they come from, and some outcomes for clients who end up in rapid rehousing, emergency housing. So I think it's a pretty cool thing to kind of show you guys. So here we have adult only, adult and child only, and then you can click on these summaries, and it has a summary of all participants that were served in emergency shelter, transitional housing, rapid rehousing, and PSH, and a breakdown of gender, age, race, and ethnicity. So it's really cool. And this is so since this was submitted last year, this is 2015 to 2018 data. So these are all the single adults that were served in our HMIS system in that reporting period. And this is adult and child, so families. So any questions or comments about the LSA? No? Okay. Well, the next one is due. Oh, yes? Any questions? No. The next one is due in mid-May 2020. So I'll be submitting another one of these and hopefully being able to upload it into Stella here, and we can have some very useful and robust visualizations of how we serve our clients as a whole in the whole COC. So I think that's a pretty cool thing to have. Okay, so moving right along, I just wanted to get some feedback. I've been hearing that some of you have been experiencing errors when running reports in Service Point. So I just didn't know if there's anything else that you all wanted to put on my radar in terms of reports, errors running reports in Service Point, if it's still happening or if it's all good. So could I get any type of feedback? I'm not hearing anything, so I'm assuming it's good. Okay. Well, if any of you happen to have any more errors running reports, I know for the system performance measures, I was receiving an error on one of those reports I had to run, and I had to resolve it by communicating directly to WellSky. So if any of you happen to experience any more errors with running reports, take up a service ticket, a help desk ticket, and we can try to resolve that issue. We definitely want it to, we definitely want to be aware of that as soon as possible, so that, you know, everyone can run reports at their leisure. Okay. So next, I wanted to do a short presentation about Tableau Conference. I was there the second week of November, and I found it very inspiring as kind of a data person, data geek myself. So I kind of wanted to share for about 10 minutes some of my experience with that, and I hope that it inspires you all as well. So let's see here. Oh, for some reason it's doing the presenter view. Well, that's okay. I don't know how to switch them. So I went to Tableau Conference in Las Vegas the first week of November, the second week of November, and I learned how to do a lot of things within Tableau, and I've just learned a lot about data and analytics in general. So this is me at the Tableau conference. I don't know why it's still doing the presenter view, but I took a dive inside of this data pool, and it like really had a data pool with a little like ball pit thing you could go into with a lifeguard for some reason. I went to a lot of chats on different ways to visualize and interpret data, specifically with Tableau. And they even had little classes that I could use Tableau and learn how to import and export different visualizations and data sets. So I thought that was really helpful. And it's definitely something I'm trying to incorporate more in what I do at the coalition. I took some study breaks. There's the Luxor, Mandalay Bay in the background, and then people on their laptops doing Tableau things. But I think the biggest takeaway was like the hive mind of data and data ubiquity. This was a term thrown around, and the power of data. And so what does data ubiquity mean? It's data, facts, and statistics collected together for reference and analysis, and ubiquity, the fact of appearing everywhere and being very common. So it's like this idea that data can be a part of all of our job functions. We belong in this ecosystem of data and analysis, and it can improve what we do in our job functions. And so hopefully this isn't too much of a spoiler for Stranger Things fans, but the data ubiquity tendrils, the takeaways that I got from the Tableau conference was in order to achieve ultimate data ubiquity, hive mindness, we need to utilize data in our community, have fast data agility, education, and accuracy. and that will change the world as we know it. So data in our community, that could mean interagency communication. We already have this meeting, we have trainings, we have HMIS and CARS, but I think it's more than that. I think it's having peer support. If somebody working next to you doesn't know how to do something within HMIS, that we help them. It's having this idea of positive deviance. So one person sharing what they do when they upload a new client or start a new project in HMIS, and sharing that with others so that we can all continue to get better off of each other's good behavior or positive deviance. And the use of agency data in the great data ecosystem. So we're not the only people that collects data. There's the government, there's child welfare, there's other nonprofits that don't work in homeless services that are related in a way to what we do with humanitarianism. So we can be a part of this greater data community. Agility, I think that for this to be as efficient as possible, that we need to have quick acquisition and data processing and be able to understand it better. And then I included a little viz picture of covers of like Jimi Hendrix, a visualization at Tableau conference of Jimi Hendrix when he does covers and how much more he utilizes the guitar. I thought it was a really interesting way to visualize something of data. You can immediately see that his version of All Along the Watchtower is a lot more complicated than Bob Dylan's version. So being able to quickly understand what data is presented to us makes us all more interested and adept at using it. And then accuracy, that goes into data quality, being able to correctly interpret it with speed, and then having the universal data elements filled. That's why we run 252s, that's why we have these meetings, that's why we have trainings. So being able to be accurate with our data and interpretations. And then education, staying up to date with the latest trends, with the latest best practices. Sometimes it's not always one training, but several trainings before you finally understand what's going on. And then learning and teaching it the right the first time. So trying to get better at what we do in regards to data entry and interpretation. And so some conclusions. Here's Gauguin's painting of where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where are we going with this data thing? It's not going to go away. It's really powerful. And so being able to establish SMART goals that are around data, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based goals, is very important. It can lead to an efficiency of investment in time and money. So if we see that one thing is working and another thing isn't, through this big data movement, we can invest more money into what works and more time into what works and less time and money, vice versa. The stronger sense of community, like I said, we're a part of this data ecosystem. So being able to share amongst different organizations our data or their data to make us all as efficient and goal-oriented as possible. And then having proven outcomes, being to prove what we're doing is working, is very important. So I just want to thank you and give some shout outs to Tableau Public and Google Data Studio. While I'm here, I found out at Tableau conference that they actually have a free Tableau application that you can use. So some things that you all can do as an organization is you could actually take your own data and put it into Tableau Public or Google Data Studio and make your own visualizations and set your own goals, SMART goals. So I thought I would show you a little bit of what I've done messing around in Tableau. So this is free. So I have this data source. It's a copy of the cars master list with no client names. And it's probably about 1,600 different entries in here. And so I can actually split this over time. So here are the number of cars assessments done over time, 2017, 18, 19, and I can drag these over here and you can see race to color. So it splits it into different races. So our most surveyed race that we've done is white, and then non-specified, then Black and African American. So you can do a lot of really cool stuff in here, and it's really user-friendly. So you can do gender. It splits into different genders. So I thought I'd just share this with you all. If you're into data and you have data sets, HMIS has, you all have art licenses, you can all run your own reports, and you can take your own data and run it in Tableau Public and have cool visualizations for your organizations. So cool. Any takeaways from my little presentation? Any of you plan to try to use Tableau Public for your own purposes?
Yeah, this is Katrina with the intro. I think this is really helpful. It's a great tool for visualizations. We're doing a lot of that here. And is this similar, though, to Power BI by any chance?
I believe so. I don't know that much about Power BI, but this is, you know, I've made maps in here. If it has, Tableau is really smart. So if one of these columns has a city name or location or zip code, it automatically recognizes that. And you can make a map over here. And so it's just really easy for somebody who doesn't have like a data science degree to just go in here and split all this stuff apart and really find cool and innovative ways to look at something that is more pleasing to the eye than just this or pie charts.
Another question, is this also HIPAA compliant, or how do they store the data if we do use this?
So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I just made sure I got rid of most personal information in here because it is public. I don't think you would want to put too much sensitive information in here. And I don't intend on publishing this without the go-ahead from my EO. But with the map I made, that was just census information. So I'll have to get back to you on that.
I would just want to be very cautious using this if we're using data downloads from HMIS to make sure the data is clean.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, of course. And Tableau Public, the website, they have a lot of visualizations that have been uploaded from other users. So it's just interesting to just go on there and look at all the different stuff. You know, they have city data and that Jimi Hendrix thing I showed you, and Beatles songs, and just the most random things on there. So I definitely recommend going on to Tableau Public to try to find inspiration. But yeah, keep in mind that what you post on Tableau Public is public. So be careful not to keep anything too sensitive in there. Cool. Any other questions or comments about Tableau or visualizations or? No? Cool. So, I wanted to show you all system performance measures. This is another thing I'll have to submit to HUD. Where's my? I'll have to submit to HUD. Sorry, I'm like trying to find my screen here. In May. Where is it? I can't find my, I think I just do this. Sorry, everyone, I'm trying to figure out how to run Zoom here. Oh, here it is, okay. Okay. So we're not on LSA anymore. So here is HDX 1.0. So every year I have to submit the HIC, PIT, and system performance measures. AHAR is what turned into the LSA. So that has been submitted since 2017. But I thought I would just run through the system performance measures. There are 7 different reports I run within HMIS that show different measures of just benchmark. I mean, we don't have any benchmarks set per se, but just show over time like what's going on within your system. So the first one is the length of time persons remain homeless. So it shows kind of length of stay within emergency shelters and transitional housing, and then they also add permanent housing. Measure 2, the extent to which persons who exit homelessness to permanent housing return to homelessness. So people who return to homelessness. This is blank because I'm going to be uploading it for our current year, so I can change it to last year, and you can see our numbers. And I'll show you a more detailed report after I just go through these. Measure 3, the total number of people homeless. It just uses the HIC and PIT count, basically. 4, the employment and income growth for homeless persons and COCE program funded projects. So it shows, you know, leavers and stayers is the terminology that they use. So change in earned income, non-employment cash income, and total income from 2017 to 2018. And I'm going to show you, like I said, I'll show you the spreadsheet of all the years to see kind of where we're at with this. Number of people who became homeless for the first time. So these are first time entries in HMIS to these specific programs. So emergency shelter, safe havens aren't here, and transitional housing, and then also permanent housing. And then homeless prevention and placement of persons defined by category 3. I'm not entirely sure what, I think this is a newer one, so I'm not entirely sure what this is supposed to measure. And then successful placement from street outreach and retention, placement, and permanent housing. So probably one of the most important ones, and then one on data quality. So if I show you, let's see here. So I took measure 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. Oh, it's not loading right now. Zoom doesn't really seem to like when I share Excel for some reason. Have any of you experienced this as well? Like Zoom not liking Excel? Yeah, it really doesn't like it. Let me try stopping the share and then trying again. Because I think it's really interesting to see the trends over time. But if not, I can always send this to you all. Waiting. Okay, I don't think it's gonna do it. Well, anyway, I'll just put it. I'll try one more time, and then I'll just put it back on the the agenda screen. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's not gonna, it doesn't like sharing Excel. Oh, here we go. Can you all see that? It's gonna crash. Well, you can see from at least before it crashes, the change in the average and median length of time persons are homeless in emergency shelter and transitional housing projects. So the average length of time that somebody is homeless in ES and TH projects from 2015, it kind of spiked for average in 2016, and then it's kind of, it went down 2018, and then our year to date so far, the average length of time is 177 days. Yeah, it's going to crash. So yeah, I'll just send this to you all later because it really doesn't like screen sharing to Excel. But I thought it was kind of interesting to show you that this is what I've been working on, making sure all these numbers are as accurate as possible with our data quality. That's why I send a lot of those 252 reports to you all, or want to make sure that everything in there is as up to date as possible. And the one that was mentioned about income, that's why it's so important and so stressed that those interim reports are done for income and they're updated, because in here, let's see, I think it was 4. It shows decreases every year in earned income, which might be the case, but I think most of the time it's just hard to report, or it's just hard to remember to report that. So just making sure that everyone continues to report changes, especially increases in income for clients, so it reflects in this report. One of the important metrics that HUD wants to see, 1 of 7, is very, very important, especially for leavers. I know it's hard to capture that data for leavers. Sometimes they leave without warning. But yeah, definitely you can see for this year, it's gone down a lot, even though this one, it shows from 17 to 18 that it went up. So let's see, anything else? Oh, and then I also want to discuss hick and pit, pardon, preparation. We're looking at tentatively January 29th. I think it's usually done like the last Wednesday in January that we do that report, and I send you those sheets to fill out. So I just thought I'd put that on your radar, and that we're going to start preparing for that. So I didn't know if there's any feedback that you all could give to me, because this is my first hick and pit that I've done, that what has worked in the past or what could have been improved. It would be much appreciated. No, nothing. Well, if any of you think of anything, don't hesitate to send me an email, because I've heard it can be a pretty stressful process, and it's just a lot of things to do leading up to it. So just want to make sure that it can goes over as smoothly as possible. Okay. So I'm going to try to write down some more names of who's popping into this call. Who popped into the call from the beginning. I'm sorry to those that called in from a phone. It was a very visual webinar, so I definitely encourage you to try to download the Zoom app. You can see everything. It works really well, if possible. But I just want to, if there's nothing else, I just want to thank everyone for attending. I hope you got something out of this. I hope that you're inspired to try to use Tableau Public or Google Data Studio. Like I said, they're free visualizations, and that we just continue working towards data ubiquity as a coalition in COC. So there's nothing else. I want to thank everyone for attending, and hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy holidays.
Yes, you too. Happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.